Right, let's talk television and vibration consumption. Now, this is this is a difficult topic because a lot of people aren't going to want to give this up. Television is terrible for your vibration in a large variety of ways. One, it puts your brain waves, it makes them flat lines them. You're just staring at a TV. You're not working with your mind. You're pulling the energy in of the TV. You're getting all kinds of subliminal messaging. There are frequencies in a lot of shows to get you to stay in your seat. One of the things I recently learned over the years, I had been trying to cut down my TV consumption. It's actually something, excuse me, it's actually something that my guides have kept me from completely getting rid of. And I've tried, and it's like I always find myself back in front of the TV. And it's not from an addictive habit, it's actually a way of me coming back into this world so that I'm not always floating away and not doing the things I need to do on the human level of the world. I zone out when I watch TV. I usually look up above the TV and I'm off in the ethers, but it gives me, it's like a forced way of relaxing for me. But the thing is, I don't watch a lot of new stuff. I rewatch a lot of the same shows that are older shows before a lot of the time of more advanced programming techniques, which television programming is called programming because it programs you. So I watch a lot more uplifting stuff, comedies, Friends, The Office, Seinfeld, Community, things that make me laugh the whole time I'm watching them. Even to this day, I've seen those shows 10, 15 times through. The Office, probably more, because I rewatch them over and over rather than watching new stuff. And the reason is if I watch the old stuff, I can step away at any time. I can click pause, I can step away. What's my point? I started shifting how I was using television, how I was using film. I started paying attention more to the vibration, more to how it was being used and manipulated to control society. And as I raised my vibration, I had actually gotten rid of all of the TV, the platforms, Netflix, Hulu, all of them gone. I had a library of over 600 DVDs at the time. So I was plenty good to watch stuff. And I was rewatching things that I had seen. I'd grown it over the years. And it seems like a lot, but I always bought, I was thrifty. I'd go to thrift stores and buy DVDs for $1 and, that sort of thing. And then I'd watch them over and over and over again because I didn't want to rely on the big media companies. Have an internet outage, you're not going to have movies to watch, was always my opinion. I was also a cinephile, as you might call it, somebody who loves film. I love storytelling. I love film. I love the art of film. I love the stories and all that. But it was an escape for me. It was a way to get me in my chair, relax, and not always be up in the ethers talking to spirit, which is important because we have to do human things too. We have to get ourselves back down into this world to do some human things. After months, I don't remember how long, of just rewatching DVDs and this sort of thing, I went, okay, and I think Netflix was the first one I put on. I put Netflix on. I turned on a TV show, one of their newer ones, and I could literally feel the energy and hear the words, binge me, binge me, binge me, binge me, binge me, coming through Netflix. I could feel that energy. I could hear the words in my mind. That's not good. How many people do you know start a Netflix show, start a show on Hulu, start a show on another platform, and they watch it through in the entire weekend? They spend their entire weekend watching this show, watching a documentary, a television show, whatever it is. Spend the entire weekend consuming it. They want you doing that. There's a reason. They're programming your mind to sit in your chair to watch them so that you spend more money on them. They're programming your mind so that when you're out and about and you see those brands, you buy from those brands. You use your money to give to them, to consume, and to continue giving them energy. You're not just giving them energy when you're shopping and paying them money. You're giving them energy by sitting in the chair. You're literally giving your energy away to them because you're not doing anything else. You're paying attention just to that. And the more you binge, the more money they make. So the more they make for you to binge, and the more they make, the more you sit, and the cycle goes on. And the more they make, the more products they can hammer out, the more they can sell, the more energy they can consume. So this is the lesson for today, is about what are you doing with your time and your energy when it comes to television. There are other aspects of television like news, and I'll get into that later on in a different lesson. But what are you doing? Think about that for a second. What are you doing with your day? If you get home and you go and you sit down and you watch Netflix and you turn it on and you start watching it and you watch an episode and you're like, oh, I can watch another one, and that binge energy catches you and you start watching more. How much time did you spend watching a show? How much time did you spend watching sports, watching the news, watching politics, watching the Discovery Channel, whatever it is? How much time are you spending consuming television, consuming through a TV, a phone, a computer, consuming that information and giving your energy to it? You're giving your energy simply by sitting in that chair. How much time? Now sit down, and this is an exercise I actually want all of you to do if you do watch and consume television media. Sit down, spend a week, and write down every time you watch something. Write down how many minutes you spent watching it, what days and times you watched it. A lot of you are going to be surprised at how much time that adds up to. And then sit down, figure that out, and then ask yourself a question. What else could I have done? Many of you are sitting here right now watching this, wondering what to do with your lives. You want to change your life. You want to do something differently. You want out of your career. You don't want to work the desk job. You don't want to work in a standard corporate environment. You don't want to do all this stuff, but you're sitting down, you're watching this video, which is consuming, but you're having a beneficial moment of consumption because you're receiving positive information. You're receiving ways to change your life. Or you could be watching TV. Let me ask you, are you watching this? Is the TV on in the background? Is it distracting your attention? Bring your attention back to this video. This is important to understand. It's meant to distract you. It's meant to keep you in the chair. And when you realize how much time you spend and you sit down and you say, wow, I want to change my life. I talked about creativity before. How much of that time could you have spent building a creative skill to shift into possibly a side hustle that maybe shifts you into something bigger later on? What could you do to change your world with that time? Even if you're only spending a half hour watching television, that half hour could be spent learning a skill. It could be spent cooking. It could be spent learning how to eat high vibrational. It could be spent meditating, exercising. It could be spent doing so many other things. Now imagine you're one of those people who comes home. Say you get home at 6 o'clock after working till 5. You have a drive. Maybe you pick up some food or something. You get home at 6 o'clock. You turn on the TV. You're up till 11 o'clock at night. You sit in your chair. You watch TV. You're trying to relax the rest of the night. 6 to 11. 5 hours. So let's say, given time for breaks and stuff, you actually watch 4 hours of television a day. 4 hours of television a day adds up. 5 days, 20 hours. Now, how much do you watch on Saturday and Sunday? In 20 hours, you can do so much to shift your life in just 20 hours. You can do so much work on yourself. You can do so much of the work in this book. You could pick up those creative skills and be working on creativity to heal your trauma, to grow your confidence, to build that side hustle. You could be planning, how do I shift out of my job? Rather than watching TV, you could sit down, you can make a vision board. You can make a vision board and ask and put things on there to help attract and manifest things. You could learn about crystals. You could learn about gods and goddesses. You could learn about angels and how to work with them or your guides. You could research. You could seek information. You could do all these things. You could work on your abilities to communicate with other beings, extraterrestrials, guides, gods, goddesses, faeries, interdimensionals, Sasquatch, dragons, unicorns, all this stuff. 20 hours in just 5 days if you're one of those people who comes home, sits down, starts watching TV right away. A lot of people watch more than that, actually. Statistically watch more than that. It's mind-boggling when you realize how much time is consumed by the television. And you can sit down and you can shift that. If you want out of your situation, you have to be willing to sit down and shift it. So for everybody sitting here watching saying, I want out of my job, I want out of my relationship, I want out of this, I want out of that, I want out of this, I want to change this, I want to change that, I want to change this. Are you consuming too much television? Can you use the time that you watch consuming television to do something productive, to do something to raise your vibration, to take a salt bath, to sage your house, to learn about symbols, to work with your divine team, to do something creative, to go get some sunshine, something people are missing so much of in this day and age where they sit in front of the television. Can you go get some sunshine? Can you go get out into nature? Can you go buy fresh groceries? For all of those saying, oh, I don't have time to buy groceries, and they go to the fast food. Anytime somebody said that, I've looked at them like, yes, you do. You have time to buy groceries. You just don't want to. You don't want to go buy groceries. You don't want to go to the store. You don't want to learn how to do it. But if you stopped watching television, if you took an hour out of your day once a week from television or from playing computer games or from doing something like that that distracts you, you'd have 1 hour to go buy groceries. It doesn't take a lot of time. I mean, if you have a family of 4 or 5, sure, it's going to take you a little bit of time, but I can walk into the grocery store to buy food for myself, be out in 15 minutes because I have a list. I know where everything's at. And it's just boom, 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 boom. Grab this. I have my recipes. I know what I'm making. I can go get it. If I had 2 people, it would just be grabbing a little bit more of everything. If I had 4 people, it'd be quadrupling it. Not hard to do. But you could plan your meals, make a list, go buy groceries, and have healthy food all week. Now imagine this. Imagine you spend 1 hour of your TV time to make a list of recipes you're going to eat throughout the week. And within that hour, while you're making that list, you make the list of products that you need. You know, I need lemons, limes, rice, beans, whatever it is. And then you spend another hour and go to the grocery store. In 2 hours, you have prepared all of the groceries you need for the week because you planned it. And you spent 2 hours of your TV time out of 20, out of a 5-day period, out of 20 hours, 2 hours. And then you go and you say, okay, every day I'm going to cook. I'm going to cook these fresher meals. Fresher meals are actually a lot quicker to cook. Raw meals, fresh produce meals. You're not relying on meats and meat preparation. Say you spend a half hour cooking every day. That's 2 hours plus a half hour every day. Now let me ask you, how much time do you spend sitting in the fast food line? How much time do you spend sitting in that line at popular fast food restaurants? How much time do you spend waiting on your food, ordering your food? How much time do you spend driving to that location? How much money are you spending on things like Grubhub and all these other places that deliver food to you? Isn't it worth it just to spend a little bit of time out of your day to do this one thing so that you have food as soon as you get home, prepared, you can cook fresh meals, you can eat better, you can be healthier, be happier. And then when you do that, you start going, oh wow, out of the 4 hours I spend every day watching TV, I'm only spending a half hour cooking because on Sunday I spent 2 hours gathering my groceries and preparing what I was gonna cook. And so you spend a half hour cooking, you come home, you cook for a half hour, then you sit down and watch TV, if that's what you want to do. It's a baby step. But then you go and you say, wow, you kind of see how it snowballs, where you've been doing this, just taking a little chunk of your time out of TV, and then you go, okay, this really works. I feel better, I'm eating healthier, I'm happier, I'm having better food. Your food is better, it's fresher, it's more vibrant, it's full of energy. And you made it, which builds confidence, gives you skills to cook. And then you sit down and you go, well, why don't I take another half hour out of my 5-day week period and work on a creative skill, work on something else. Wean off of television, and you can learn to cook, learn to eat healthy, be creative, shift yourself out of a job by manifesting, by learning more about yourself. What do you want to do? Learning more, researching, taking classes. I'm taking this class to do better, and that's one of the points. Use your time away from television to do that. So when you get done with this lesson, sit down and ask yourself, if you're one of those people who's watching TV, and a lot of people might say, oh, I don't watch a lot of TV. Sit down and add it up. Every time you watch a TV, keep a notepad beside your chair or your couch. Keep a notepad every time you turn it on. Time started, time ended, what did you watch? Review it at the end of the week. Figure out how much time you actually spent, and then ask yourself, truly have a conversation with yourself. Don't just dismiss it. Sit down, look at that piece of paper, look at the time you spent, and even if it's just 15 minutes that you spent, ask yourself, what could I do with that time? I think some of you are going to find out you're spending more than 10 hours a week on television, far more probably. And asking yourself, wow, I want to change my life. I could actually utilize that time. And be honest with yourself. What could you use it for? Do you want to continue watching television? Or do you want to utilize the time to shift your world, to shift your reality, to do the things you've always wanted? Because you don't need the television. You think you do because you've been programmed to binge it, to be addicted to it. But if you sat down and used your time for something else, it's much more valuable. Think about this. My TV's right off to the side. I could be watching new shows I've never seen on television. Instead, I'm here speaking to you. Instead, I wrote 20 books. Instead, I've worked on spirit art and helping people. And I completely shifted my reality to be able to work for myself, which I've always worked for myself, but I still worked in the 3-dimensional space. But I've been able to shift out of that to what I really wanted to do. And I learned what I wanted to do by writing my fantasy books, by writing my spiritual books, by working with my clients. If it wasn't for me stepping away from the TV in those times that I knew I need to get something done, I wouldn't be here. What are you missing out on? Are you missing out on doing something fun and happy because you're watching TV? Are you missing out on helping people? Are you missing out on teaching them? What are you missing out on because you're spending time consuming television? Think about that question. That's the lesson for today. Don't forget, record how much you're watching if you are still watching TV. TV is not necessarily a bad thing either. I want to be clear about that. You can watch television if you're aware of what is going on and you pay attention and you don't get involved in the binge aspect and don't let it drag you down. You can watch it. I love movies. I love films still. I still watch them, but I don't binge them or try my best not to, unless some days I'll low vibrational and I'll say, yeah, there are days where I get into a space that I just sit there and zone out because I need to zone out. But I don't do it in a way that affects my journey so that I can't do this work. So you can still watch television, but are you watching it in a conscious manner, or are you watching it in another manner? I'm going to do another video too. Actually, I'm just going to keep continuing. This is going to be a little bit longer video. It popped in my head to talk about this, probably because I just did a reel on this for social media. What type of TV are you watching? I didn't talk about this in the book, I don't think. I might have mentioned it a little bit. What type of TV are you watching? Are you watching fearful TV? Are you watching serial killer documentaries? Are you watching horror shows? Are you watching reality television? Or what type of TV are you watching? Remember, what you consume affects you. This is the reason I watch comedies and things I've seen over and over again since the 90s. There's a reason for that because they're higher vibrational in the sense that one, I enjoy them. Two, they make me laugh. Three, I don't feel terrible watching them. And when I say I don't feel terrible, I mean I don't walk away feeling afraid, feeling anxious, feeling worried, feeling like I have to binge the show, feeling like I'm missing out on what others, this whole aspect of the social construct where others are like, oh, you didn't see that, and are shaming people for not seeing things. I don't feel like I have to see things because I'm watching what I know, I'm watching what I enjoy, and I don't need the new stuff. And frankly, a lot of the new stuff, the writing, all of that, it's not good. It's just bingeable content. Netflix is literally a binge machine designed to create bingeable content to just keep people watching. What content are you watching? It's very important to understand that too, because a lot of people are watching fearful content. They are watching serial killer documentaries, true crime documentaries. They're watching horror television series. They're watching things that degrade people, things that lower people, reality television shows that shame people. They're watching all this stuff that's low vibrational. If it is that, then you're consuming low vibrational content and you're taking on that vibration. Especially if after you watch the show you feel fear, worry, anxious, jealousy, greed, anger, hate. If you watch something and you feel low vibrational emotions, you should not be watching it. Hands down. I don't care what it is. If you watch something and it makes you feel like you're in a lower vibrational emotion, then that's not the content for you, because it's going to lower your vibration. But if you feel happy, if you feel in awe, if you feel wonder and amazement, these are nature documentaries. Nature documentaries are high vibrational. These are comedies, romantic comedies, for the most part. Some of them, yes, are very low vibrational in the way they interact with people in the stories. These are different forms of media that make you feel good, that make you feel higher. And the interesting thing is, what makes you feel good now won't be what makes you feel good later, because as you raise your vibration, you'll look back and be like, oh, that's so bad. That was so bad for me. I used to love serial killer documentaries, the true crime stuff, all of that. Loved it. I was interested in it, trying to pick it apart, trying to figure it out. But when I look back at it, I'm like, it's so terrible for you. It's terrible for your mind. It's terrible for manifestation. It's a way of manifesting that stuff into our world because we're consuming it and constantly focused on it. I go out into nature and I have no fear of people being involved around me and that sort of thing. But my family, my friends, those who consume low vibrational media instantly go to, oh my God, please be careful, please be safe, please, like something will happen. It's like, no, I don't think like that. I also no longer consume media that brings me down, media that makes me think like that makes me try to manifest that. So think about what you're watching, not just how much time you're spending, but what you're watching. How high vibrational is it? It doesn't mean you can't watch that stuff, but be very aware of what it's doing to you emotionally, vibrationally, what it's doing to your mental health. Try watching happy stuff, joyful stuff. things that are light, airy, nature documentaries. Try watching stuff that has a more of a purpose in your life to make you feel good, to better your life. So think about that as you go forward. Remember, journal your television watching habits. In journal, you don't necessarily have to journal because you know what genres of TV you like, but be aware of what you are consuming. Are you consuming all the lower vibrational stuff, or is it making you happy to watch it? Not just zoning out. People confuse. Don't confuse happiness with zoning out and relaxing. There's a difference. Does it make you laugh? Does it make you feel really good? Does it make you feel loving? Heartfelt? Just because it makes you relax and makes you zone out doesn't mean it's good for you. So keep that in mind. Thank you again for watching. I know this was a longer video, and there's more coming on the subject of media consumption too. Thank you again for watching, and we'll move on to the next lesson.